Hello, everybody, and welcome to the table. Today we are checking out the Kershaw MINI Skyline. So let's take a closer look. This one is a recent release, and it really came out with little to no fanfare. I just happened to be browsing on Knifecenter's website, and it appeared. So I just put it in my cart, purchased it as soon as I noticed it. And that being said, this knife is going to be an exclusive to knifecenter.com. So that's the one and only place you'll be able to pick one up. But exclusive does not necessarily mean limited, because they are still in stock as of this date, as of filming this video, and the price for these comes in at around $45. So with this model, we do have some interesting upgrades with the design, but in my opinion, we also took a few steps backwards in some ways as well. So we're going to chat about this knife and throw up some comparisons and check out the Mini Skyline. And of course, the first thing to talk about is going to be the elephant in the room. So the Kershaw MINI Skyline, this is a Chinese-produced knife. So of course, the original Skyline, the fixed blade Skyline are both US-made knives, but they took the design, made some tweaks to it, and sent it over to their overseas factory to do the actual production. So they also did this in the past with the Kershaw Skyline XL. So that one seemed to have come and went, but what they had done is they upsized the Skyline into a slightly bigger knife. Really didn't make any improvements, but they sent that one over to China for making as well, and it really didn't take any hold at all, so it's pretty much gone now. But I am happy to say that with the Mini Skyline here, they did make some substantial improvements to the knife itself, and whether or not that warrants a purchase, that'll be up to you. But let's talk about the good things that the Mini Skyline has going for it right here. So first off, we have the action here. So the Mini Skyline does run on bearings, and so thank goodness they did not put speed safe in this knife. This still remains a 100% manual opener, but putting those bearings in there makes the flipper action that much better. So it's a beautiful knife to flip. The detent is nice and tight, so there's really no issues there. A nice push button action is going to get the flipper going every single time, and that's straight out of the box. No issues, no concerns with that. So with this particular knife, we can also see the pocket clip was also upgraded. So we have a from the factory Kershaw deep carry pocket clip, and it carries wonderfully deep. And so this might be one of the things you appreciate as an upgrade from the original Skyline, which used the traditional, two-screw Kershaw pocket clip. And so for me, every time I carried the Skyline, I always notice, okay, how much of this knife is going to stick out of my pocket? And that's not really the case here with the Mini Skyline. And what we also do get with the Mini Skyline, we can reverse this pocket clip for either left or right-hand side carry. So that is something that the original Skyline did not offer. So it's kind of a neat side grade, maybe not an upgrade, because the original Skyline, we could carry tip up or tip down, but only right-hand side. But with the Mini Skyline here, we get tip up, left or right, but no tip down at all. So it's kind of a side grade there, but I will say that probably most people do not carry the Skyline in a tip down orientation, so they kind of made that as a call on this knife. What we also get here, nice stone washed blade, Kershaw logo here on the front, and on the reverse, of course, we just have the model number. So this is the 1765 SW. So that SW is going to stand for stonewash. And you'll notice this is a D2 blade. So pretty common for a foreign produced knife to have D2 steel for Kershaw. We do have the China marking on there, just like we were talking about. But what's actually kind of cool is they moved their little Kershaw logo on the flipper down here. So this little insignia right here refers to the Kershaw's design, the Skyline's design, as being an in-house Kershaw design. And so all the modern Kershaws have them on the knife somewhere, and they put this one right on the flipper tab, which is a little bit different. So I think it's kind of cool because when the knife is closed, you can still see that logo sticking out of the handle. I think that's pretty neat. The G10, just a standard black G10, and holding it in comparison to the original Skyline's G10, identical feeling. So it's just as grippy. It's not super rough. It's not like cold steel G10, but no issues there. So let's also take a look at the size and specs of this knife as well. So holding it up to the ruler here, let's check it out. So the Kershaw MINI Skyline, our blade length is coming in just a little bit shy of 3 inches long. So I'd call that like a real close 2.9 inches. And if you're measuring from tip to handle, that's pretty much right, going to be near the 3-inch mark anyway. The overall length, we're looking at about 7 inches long. So it's a slightly smaller than the original Skyline. But we'll do a quick comparison in just a second. But the weight of the Kershaw MINI Skyline is coming in at under 2 ounces. So I got about 1.9 ounces here, which is great. And even then, compared to the original Skyline only weighed about 2.5 ounces. So we're getting some weight savings. But when we do the size comparison, you'll notice, let me actually put them out right here, that the original Skyline is not that much bigger than the Mini. So let's just set these side by side and you can actually see. And if I just compare them, cutting edge to cutting edge, you'll see that the Mini Skyline, it's slightly smaller, which might, just float your boat, so to speak. But it's not drastically tiny in comparison to the original Kershaw Skyline. So I kind of like it because they could have gone really, really mini with this, but they didn't. They made the Mini Skyline still a completely handleable, usable knife. Both handles for both of these knives fit my hand really well. You can still get your full 4-finger grip plus your thumb on there. Really good size downgrade, I would say. And I don't even call it a downgrade. Good sizing difference between these two models of knives. So now the next thing here, whether it's an upgrade or a downgrade or a side grade, that's going to be more of your personal opinion. But the original Kershaw Skyline here, those all ran on the phosphor bronze washers. So, of course, still manual knives, but they use the bronze washers in there. And all of the original Skylines I've ever owned have had pretty decent flipping action. Of course, they're not going to be as snappy as something on bearings, but I've never had an issue flipping the knife at all. And, of course, a lot of people just prefer to have that manual opener with the bronze washers, very classic. And, of course, what we're switching over to the bearings on the Mini Skyline here, the knife is still fairly easy to open. And just as a general note on both Skylines, if they had put jimping on the flipper tab, I think it would make the flipping action much more reliable on both of them. Because, of course, now the bearings are always going to flip nice and easy, but there is a little bit more tension to get that knife out of the detent as compared to the version with the washers in it. So upgrade, side grade, that's going to really be your opinion. But I will say the bearing action on this knife makes it very fidget friendly. So if you just want to sit here and flip the knife, all day, I think that's very, very conducive to that. So there is that comparison there. So we have a lot of interesting differences between these two knives, both the same exact style essentially, but upgrades, side grades. So it's going to be interesting to determine what you prefer in your knives. So what do you think? Do you prefer a deep carry pocket clip? Do you prefer this original two screw traditional Kershaw Skyline clip? I know they use it on a lot of their knives now. It's kind of a classic. And I do like both clips, but I feel personally the deep carry clip makes this one really nice and easy to carry in comparison. The bearings, it's a wash. I'm not really for or against them. But really the size is where it comes in. It's just slightly smaller, more pocket friendly. So in my opinion, that makes the Kershaw Mini Skyline kind of worth the price and worth the buy here. But of course, there's always the elephant in the room. Like I was saying, this is made overseas. But this year, 2023, Kershaw has been knocking it out with their foreign releases. So I have no problem buying this knife here. So tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed watching and have a nice day, everyone. See you later.